it was like just 10 powerful breaths. And then they would get back in the set and they do the set and they come back out 10 powerful breaths. And man, they were just glowing by the end of this workout. How did I first kind of get into that? I was talking about, like, I think when I first got into psychedelics in general, I was like age 29. And the first experience was with mushrooms. And, I had a really wonderful experience. I took a bunch. I went and watched the sunset. I did have like this sky entity come down and like say what's up. I had this ocean entity come down, say what's up for a moment. I was like a baby in a womb. It was like essentially.
How many grams do you think you took?
I think I 4.5, 5.
Oh shit! Okay.
So it was a really good time, and at the time I still was very unaware of like all this and what it was. I didn't put any of the dots together again until like probably 6 years later down the road.
What does that mean?
What does what mean exactly?
Any of the doubts?
So dots, put the dots together.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't put the dots together and what was really happening. As I mentioned before, like a part of me was trying to logically make sense of like what I was experiencing, with these essential entities or these beings that would like come down and like say what's up. And as I mentioned, I thought there were just other people in the world that were just meditating at that time. We were somehow in this unique field of meditation. So that's how I logically made sense of a lot of my experiences with mushrooms, with DMT. And I wasn't meditating yet. I was actually just using psychedelics to reach that realm at that point. And then about 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, I went to Tulum. And it was quite some time since I did plant medicine. And I never worked with a shaman before. All my plant medicines were just done by myself within my home. And so my buddy went to a person and did some DMT. He had a great experience. We were in Tulum. And I was with Steph at the time, and we decided to go check it out. And I was like, what? I'd never been shamaned into a DMT experience. So let's go see what that's about. Mm-hmm. And I went there, and he just did a quick 3 rounds of breath work with me. But it was like 30 seconds. Nothing really like I thought was profound from it. I didn't really gain anything from it. Did the DMT. That was a very, 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 very short DMT trip. Nothing really wild or crazy. I walked away from it. Nothing crazy, to be honest. But then when I came home for whatever reason, I like woke up one day and I decided to just sit down and start breathing. It was kind of strange. I didn't feel like there was any influence from doing the breath work. There was no thought on it. And I started doing some breath work, and I did it for like 3 days in a row. Nothing too crazy happened. But then for whatever reason, I go into our office at the time, and I always had trouble with reading and comprehension because of my lack of focus. Because my mind was always essentially probably going all over the place. And then for whatever reason, I found myself walking into our office, and we had some books. And I don't know why I went in there, but I go in there and I just grab a book. And the book that I grabbed was Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. And I'm like, gotta go down. I sit on the toilet, take a shit, and I'm start reading this book. And I'm reading what I'm kind of experiencing these last 3 days. And then as I'm continuing to do the breath work, it's like completely unfolding as I'm reading. So it was like this wonderful knowledge kind of guiding me through what was happening. And then more entities would come down, more downloads would happen. And then I eventually found myself adding it to my workouts, in between my workouts, during my sets and stuff like that. Breath work. I started adding it and everything. And then I was like, man, this is fucking unbelievable. Like, I'm on to something. I remember just being so excited about it. I started doing it with all my clients in between their sets, at the very end of their workouts. And then eventually they were asking if I could just run them through breath work. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, yeah, sure. So I started developing a program. And all said and done, like, that's what I pretty much do now. Like, teach people how to breathe, teach people how to quiet the analytical mind so they can reconnect to a more loving self, so they can make better decisions in their life.
Pat Project family, I hope you guys are enjoying this bite. Did you know that cocaine increases your dopamine levels by 2.5 times above baseline?
Okay.
Why is this important?
Nsima?
Because, a really cool thing that we learned from Andrew Huberman is that getting yourself into cold water exposure, like the cold plunge, does the same thing. What? 2.5 times above baseline. And you have those sustained dopamine levels for up to 4 or 5 hours after cold exposure. This is why we love cold plunging so much. I cannot say this enough. It has been one of the best additions to our daily routines. If you can already, just take cold showers. But if you want to take it to the next level, get the cold plunge. And Andrew, how can they do it?
You guys got to head over to thecoldplunge.com and at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject to save $150 off. I keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it till I'm blue in the face and not blue from the cold, blue from holding my breath. This has been the absolute best thing I've ever done for my mental health. Like I said, I can't say it enough. So again, thecoldplunge.com, promo code PowerProject, links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes. Let's get back to this podcast.
When you say you used to do it in between sets, what did that look like? Because in between sets is like a minute or two, right? So what were you doing in that minute or two?
It's more so like just how I would show you guys like the and like 10 of those. And then because they're not bodybuilders and they're not power lifters, so I wasn't trying to like have these big breaks. It was more so keep them moving, keep them in that flow, keep them in that yoga. So it was like just 10 powerful breaths, and then they would get back in the set and they do the set and they come back out 10 powerful breaths. And man, they were just glowing by the end of this workout. They were just profoundly changing. They were like, you could see it in their skin, their complexion, everything, their face. And then I would have them lay down. At the time, I wasn't guiding them through any breath work, but I would have them lay down and just put some really cool, like, meditative music on. Like, here, just lay here and just hang out for 10 minutes. And then that's what I would leave them with. And then that was our sessions for quite a while. And then I was learning my own style, put together my own program to put myself through. And then next thing I know, I'm leading these people through it, and it just caught fire.
I think there's something really interesting about that, like having somebody, giving them another task in between the set doesn't give them a chance to, sometimes when you're personal training, the person will bog you down with some negative stuff that's going on in their life.
That's true.
A therapy session in some ways. And when you have them breathe and concentrate on something different, they're not going to really have that time. I think an interesting thing is I think that we feel like the only way that we can communicate is with like a lot of words. And so I haven't seen you in a while, so I'm just gonna give you tons of fucking words, dump tons of words on you. And that happens a lot in personal training sessions when you're working with somebody. If you didn't work with somebody for a little bit and then they come back into this scene, or they were on vacation, or whatever the situation is, and then it's like words. But there's a lot of ways to communicate, and there's a lot of ways for us to express ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think the breathing, like even the breathing that you took us through, for someone who's like more shy, who doesn't want to make as much noise, doesn't want to be disruptive, for them to go and make a lot of noise. Or sometimes you see a lifter who, is getting ready for a set, make some noise before they go and do their set. There's some people that would never do that. Like some people don't think it's necessary, but other people just maybe it's just not in their personality. So I think you're tapping into a lot of different things on a lot of different levels. What were some of the things that people reported back to you, like feeling in terms of feeling different from these training sessions?
I think just more focused, more present, right? I just kept them in this flow state. As I mentioned, like a lot of times you probably get it through your runs, and people fall into this flow state. People fall into it when they do their yoga, when they dance. Even people do it when they play music, this flow state. And that's where we're really trying to get to, is to find that space. And most people in between sets, like you said, they kind of want to talk. They want to become distracted from whatever it is. So if I can keep them focused on the set, which is also including the breath and muscle-mind connection, and then I can keep them focused on the breath in between those sets, I'm keeping them in the very, very present state. And that's where the magic happens, is in the present moment. So that's where I try to get everybody to kind of get there. And we can use many modalities. We can use the training with the breath. We can use the cold plunge. We can use the breath work by itself. What can we do to create a level of presence so that people can really tap into a different part of themselves? And that space is just full of knowledge and enlightenment and everything. And they walk away maybe not knowing something right away from that workout, but they're more mindful as they leave my house. So when they leave my house, they're just paying attention to like whatever it is the fuck they're doing for the first time. And, instead of just going back into like the same, cycle of just being on their phone, being distracted, addicted to that, stimulated by this. And they're just kind of just sitting there for the first time. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, I didn't notice that. I'm like, oh shit, I should do that, and then they start making some pretty profound changes in their life.
That concept of being present is like, I think, honestly, the arching theme in all of it because I was telling you, you asked me if I ever meditate, and I used to do meditation a lot with, I used Sam Harris's app, Waking Up. And when I would meditate, you know, you'd be concentrating on your breath and you'd be present concentrating on the breath. And that, it was like, I'd do that for like 20 minutes, right? But then when I got the cold plunge, well, when you go into the cold, you're immediately present. So then I just literally replaced the meditation I typically do with the cold. And doing the Wim Hof breathing in there allows me to like stay in there a little bit longer, but I am present. I'm not thinking of anything else, right? The breathing allows me to just be there present with that. And then like you said, it's like, what ways can you figure out how to be present during your day? And that's the thing you're doing with your clients, the breathing in between sets. It made me think, it's like many people don't have times during their day where they just sit down and just breathe and don't have anything else going, whether it's music or it's your phone or it's your TV or you're talking to somebody or you're listening to a YouTube video, but time to just breathe, that will make the biggest difference for anybody.
Yeah, that's one thing I really was paying attention to. I remember when I was like, I was like so addicted to, I think maybe the chase for dopamine or some form of stimulation. And I remember one time just sitting there and I was like, I was smoking weed, listening to music, eating food on my phone. I was like, bro, I'm like, you are a goldfish right now. Like, what are you doing? And then, so I was like, let's pull this away and start maybe leaning into serotonin in the present moment. So that's what I kind of started doing. And that's kind of hard because if you, again, identify with the brain, you then can't be aware that your brain is having withdrawal symptoms from these stimulations, from this chase of dopamine. So that was a huge moment for me is at first I felt that anxiety from not getting the hit or chasing the hit. I felt that anxiety and it was like profound. And then at one point I almost created a story like, am I depressed or am I anxious or am I this? Because you feel it. And I was like, wait, no, I'm going through literally a withdrawal symptom from all of these stimulations that I've been hooked on every 7 to 10 seconds.
Guys, we're working hard over here trying to learn, trying to bring our information to you, and we need your help. A lot of you guys watching these bites aren't subscribed, so just click that red subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can see when we continue to come out with this heat. Talk to y'all later.